Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? The Reddit search function is intentionally bad, or not purposely bad, but they know how to fix it but refuse to encourage more new posts. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. PETA is controlled opposition run by the meat industry designed to make animal rights activists look bad. That the government made this post to see if we were onto them. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney Frozen you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. Cops go on Waze and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. One guy actually posted on Reddit that he did this so that his traffic duty was easier. It's better than giving tickets. Edit. There are states that have banned ticket quotas. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. It was to avoid a suspension. Subtle difference. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay System as a competitor for Apple Pay. Edit. First gold comment, thanks guys. Rob Gronkowski didn't actually injure his groin after scoring his 69th career touchdown. He just thought it would be funny, appropriate. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. Trader Joe's makes their parking lots small on purpose to make them seem more popular than they really are. Kyle Kinane. Op asked for conspiracy theories, not facts. D.B. Cooper, the gentleman that disappeared with $200K after jumping out of a Boeing 727 that he had hijacked, took the money and created www.imdb.com. Mattress firms aren't only holding mattresses, buddy. After reading about this on Reddit, I got to thinking. Once I needed a new bed, I decided to check it out. I went in and was approached by two salesmen. They had this $1,499 mattress that I really liked. The sales guy saw the twinkle in my eye and knew that I must have this mattress. I told him I liked it but I needed something more budget-friendly. I was a broke ass at the time. He then said, well, we can do this one here on the floor for $950. I told him, to be honest, I only have $400 to spare. He says, hold on a minute while I make a call. Then comes out and says, okay, we can do $400. Just come back in an hour while we prep it. I left, came back, and they even helped me lift it up to my truck. Honestly, the best mattress I've ever owned. I get compliments all the time. Edit. My top comment is about a fucking mattress now. I love Reddit. I get compliments all the time. Is this just a brag about your appearance? His wife is very popular in the neighborhood. Many get to test the mattress. That the CIA post this question every time so they know what the general public suspect. Here's an actual list of proven conspiracies. One of my favorites is that the government was behind #Throwback Thursday in order to get us to digitize and upload pictures that they would not have had access to in order to improve age progression, facial recognition algorithms. Jeffrey Epstein is a Florida billionaire who probably is running an underage sex trafficking ring. Edit. Well, Epstein just got arrested for sex trafficking minors, so this is more a conspiracy fact, not a theory. Lol. A brief background. In 2007, dozens of underage women came forward saying Epstein was having sex with them in Florida. They also claimed that he passed the girls along to other elites and ran a sex ring, blackmailing service kinda. Trump, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey and Prince Andrew are all known associates of Epstein and would go on his plane dubbed Lolita Express to a private island in the Caribbean. What happened next was ridiculous. Epstein hired the best legal team ever, like as good as OJ's. Dershowitz was involved and all that. Acosta was the prosecutor against Epstein and he is now appointed by Trump in his cabinet. Acosta gave Epstein the plea deal of his life. He was found guilty of one charge of sex with a minor, in spite of being accused by dozens of girls, and had to register as a sex offender. He got 13 months in jail but he only served 10. Here is the kicker. He could leave jail 6 times a week to go work at his at-home office. He was supposed to go to prison, but stayed in a local jail for some reason. He was granted immunity. All co-conspirators in the case were given immunity. This means that if further evidence comes out against other people with the case, they can't be prosecuted again. His house butler was found guilty of obstruction of justice regarding the evidence against Epstein. He got more jail time, years, than Epstein. The police commissioner on the case stepped down because he thought it was rigged. Miami Herald said it was the deal of a lifetime. Epstein is now free and still has billions of dollars. Acosta has told friends that he was scared to go against the powers that be because they would squash his career. This all happened in 2008, I think. The DOJ just reopened the case last month due to fuckery going on. Clinton and Trump, among other famous people like Kevin Spacey, have been documented flying on Epstein's plane to his infamous Lolita Express. A Miami judge just ruled last week literally that Epstein's case was illegal and violated law because Acosta did not consult the victims before bringing the plea deal. YouTube in a mobile browser is so shitty so they can force you to use the app and not use an ad blocker. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them, or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea, Japan and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. It's well known that international sports, including soccer and the Olympics, are huge septic pools of corruption. FIFA is absolutely the most corrupt organization in sports. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain? Perhaps. Credit to you, Braismack, for this outstanding post on the Titanic Olympic conspiracy. You, Braismack post in other conspiracy thread the Titanic Olympic conspiracy. It has credibility because there is photographic evidence. It's really one of the only conspiracy theories I put much belief in. The sister ships, and their third counterpart, the Britannic, were owned by White Star Line. The Olympic was put into service in June 1911. She collided with another ship, the HMS Hawk, in September of 1911 and both ships were badly damaged. The accident was a financial disaster for White Star Line, as they were found to be liable for the accident and had to pay for the damages to both ships and legal fees for court cases associated with the accident. Repairs on the Olympic took nearly 2 months and parts intended for the Titanic, which was still being built during this time, had to be given to the Olympic instead. Only a few weeks after being returned to service, the Olympic suffered another minor incident where one of the propellers broke off and pieces intended for the Titanic were once again cannibalized. At this point, the Olympic was looking like more and more of a money drain for the White Star Line, though its achievement in not actually sinking despite a major accident that should have sunk it cemented the Olympic-class liner's reputation as unsinkable, but I'll get back to that in a moment. The Titanic was finally finished and ready to leave port on her maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, having been delayed while new parts were made and delivered to replace the ones needed for the Olympic, and from there we all know the story. She went first to France, and then to Ireland, and then began her trek across the Atlantic to New York, during which she struck an iceberg and after nearly 2 hours, sank, taking 1,500 souls with her to a cold, watery grave that would not be seen again by human eyes for nearly 100 years. The Olympic went on to have a 24-year career as a successful ocean liner. She served during World War I, where she earned the nickname Old Reliable for her impenetrable hull, and then in 1919 she was re-outfitted to be a civilian passenger ship and served as an ocean liner until 1935, when she was retired from the fleet. Her ownership changed hands several times and she was eventually dismantled and sold for scrap metal. But what if it wasn't the Titanic that sank? What if it was actually the Olympic? What if it was a ploy to remove a faulty ship that was costing them more money than she was bringing in for White Star Line and cash in on her £1 million insurance policy? So here is the conspiracy theory. At some point after the Titanic was completed, they switched the identities of the ships. The new Titanic was actually the Olympic and the Olympic was actually the brand spanking new Titanic, fresh from the construction yard with zero problems and zero history. They intended for the Titanic to suffer some sort of failure that would result in the destruction of the problem ship so they could collect the insurance money. I doubt they intended to also cause the deaths of 1,500 people. The events that transpired which led to the sinking of the Titanic possibly happened purely by chance and the iceberg wasn't part of their plan, i.e., they didn't hire the captain to specifically ram the iceberg to sink the ship or anything like that. They probably had another plan involving the repairs that had already been made on the ship when it collided with the HMS Hawke. In any case, it wasn't really the Titanic that left port on April 10, 1912, it was the Olympic. After the sinking of the Titanic, White Star Line received a tidy sum of £1 million in insurance money, or £89,289,575 in today's money. This, of course, ruined the insurer, Lloyd's of London. There's an additional conspiracy theory that American financier and banker J.P. Morgan was in on this whole scheme. His company, J.P. Morgan Company, financed the International Mercantile Marine Company in the hopes of becoming rich off of sea travel. But this turned out to be a bad investment because of the unpredictable nature of sea travel and travelers themselves. J.P. Morgan or one of his associates may have schemed with White Star Line, who was a subsidiary of this IMMC, in order to bankrupt the IMMC and allow J.P. Morgan Company to withdraw from the IMMC without breaking a contract. I cannot provide evidence for this beyond speculation. However, I can provide evidence that backs up my claim that the two ships were switched and it was the Olympic who sank, not the Titanic. This is an image of the RMS Olympic in dry dock. I am currently unable to locate a picture of the Olympic while under construction with the name clear, so you can be sure it definitely is the Olympic. I can only assume such a photo doesn't exist. Link. Check out the very top row of portholes in the white railing. Count them. Look closely at the grouping of the last 5 portholes and how they are clustered with 2 close together, 1 set apart, and 2 more close together. This is an image of the RMS Titanic being built. Link. Look at the topmost portholes in the railing on the Titanic. Count them too. Look at the last 5 portholes and see that they are evenly spaced apart. This is a picture of the Titanic before leaving on its maiden voyage. Check out the portholes in question. Link. Here is the Olympic in New York after the sinking of the Titanic. Link. There is no reason why the shipbuilders would have changed the portholes on the Titanic when they were nearly done building it. That piece was not one of the pieces cannibalized from the Titanic to repair the Olympic that would have needed to be replaced by a different piece. The only answer is that the ship in the final picture, which is the ship that left port on April 10, 1912, and was met with a terrible fate near Newfoundland, was not the Titanic, but actually the Olympic. You can find pictures from newspapers further supporting this, as they clearly show the name of the ship and the wrong number orientation of portholes. I doubt we'll ever know one way or another, since the wreck at the bottom of the Atlantic is quickly being covered with sediment and will be completely buried and inaccessible soon, and pieces of the ship that was retired in 1935 and dismantled in 1937 are both difficult to find and difficult to authenticate, and anybody who might be able to either confirm or deny this theory are all dead. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. The government experiments on the mentally insane because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. I feel like people overlook the fact that the government actually did experiments on Americans and fucked at least one of them up so bad that he moved to the middle of the woods and started mailing bombs to people. Bob Vance was just trying to plug his business to the cameras every time he introduced himself. The editor behind Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 worked to make the film sync up perfectly with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Edit. Audio is from Till Death Do Us Blart, from the McElroy brothers. Check out all of their projects at the McElroy family. The President of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. I dunno if it's a conspiracy theory at this point, but a lot of people still don't acknowledge that your internet searches and social media profiles area absolutely being used as training models by major IT companies. I was a drunk college student and had access to them to run AI training. If you still think you're off the grid, you're an idiot. Being frank, it's not a big deal if you don't have dark shit to hide. Those people are too busy building the new technological world to give a shit that you look at midget porn. But don't delude yourself to think people don't have access to anything you do on the internet. Vaccines are flat, and the Earth causes autism. Edit. I forgot to say, 7-Eleven was an outside job. Edit 2. 7-Eleven was not a part-time job. Sheeple. That's what they want you to think. Some organization, group of people wanted all the Kennedys dead for some reason. Edit. The term conspiracy theory and its poor connotation was created by the U.S. government specifically for skeptics of the official JFK assassination story. Just felt I should put that out there. The Laurel Canyon Conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s, which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading up on Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. Sometimes I really believe the rumor that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by her double. Other times I think it's complete BS. Depends on the day. Edited because she died in 2003, not 2001. Amelia Earhart was taken prisoner by the Japanese. There's another theory that she crashed on an island and starved to death. A skeleton from around the right time period was found, I think, and the flesh was eaten by coconut crabs. Really upsetting imagining a horde of giant monsters ripping her flesh off. Edit. A word. Edit 2. I didn't say the crabs ate her alive, I'm saying they might have eaten her body after she died. Possibly from starvation, exposure. The CIA was involved in selling crack to low-income black neighborhoods to fund activities they couldn't get approved by Congress. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people believe there was some involvement and it's just a matter of degree. But, I think they were nuts deep in directly smuggling and selling crack through intermediaries to black communities with full knowledge of the Justice Department and executive branch. Edit dudes. I just want to clarify the fact that the CIA was involved in some degree of drug smuggling is generally considered a well-attested fact. The degree to which they were involved in the proliferation of crack, the motivations behind this and the degree to which the presidents knew of and condoned or even ordered all of this is a little more debatable. Women's pants pockets are significantly smaller than men's pants pockets to encourage us to buy handbags and purses. That research of thorium as a, safer, nuclear power source was suppressed in favor of uranium research due to uranium's ability to be weaponized. Edit. On my lunch break and see that this kinda blew up. A lot of good information in the comments. I'm not a physicist or an engineer. My field is environmental studies, so safer, cleaner energy is important to me. That being said, I obviously have not researched this topic enough. It just seems to pop up in conspiracy topics often, see YouTube. Looks like a good discussion. I'll have to read through it all after work. The government spreads insane conspiracy theories that conspiracy nutters will latch onto to distract from actual conspiracies. Like flooding the conspiracy market to devalue conspiracies. Edit. Dear Allah, I get it. Michael Scott, The Office, Stanley, gossip episode. Do you guys ever check to see if anyone else made that comment? The idea that genetic services like 23andMe may be selling records to the government and/or insurance companies. There have been cases of criminals being caught with genetic information like this, citation needed. So it's not much a stretch that other agencies could acquire it as well. There is a pedophile ring in Hollywood government. The value of expensive art is just as a pseudo-currency for rich people to subtly buy drugs or other illicit things. I have a few I love. Kobayashi the Competitive Eater is really a fantastic up-close sleight-of-hand artist. Weather forecasters buy stock in supermarket chains and then over-exaggerate winter storms. Weather control, shish. Two conspiracy theorists walk into a bar. You can't tell me that was just coincidence, man. There's an underground PR firm that helps celebrities fake their own death to escape the harshness of the limelight or if they feel like their life is in danger. I.e. Tupac, Biggie, Paul Walker, etc. Bigfoot is blurry in real life as is. It was never the camera at fault. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time just before announcing the cordless version. My DC-01 has a 12 meters flex. My District of Columbia 14 has a 6.5 m flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Memes about the NSA and other spy programs are encouraged by the very agencies spying on us, to twist the idea into the absurd and to humanize their agents. I don't have time to type it all out right now, but the entire situation surrounding the construction and operation of DIA, Denver International Airport, is strange, even by non-conspiracist standards. Have fun in the rabbit hole. I did a short write-up about this a few years back. Here it is, read it if y'all want. Denver International Airport. Secret bunker, giant cult shrine, and potential concentration camp. There are a lot of conspiracy theories revolving around the Denver airport. I'll try to touch on all the ones I know, but forgive me if I miss a few. There's no doubt that there are some odd things about the airport, from the delayed construction to the massive cost to the odd choice of decorations. Opening on February 28, 1995, 16 months behind schedule and at double the cost of the original estimate, $4.80 billion, Denver International Airport is the largest airport in the U.S. by total land area, 33,531 acres. Not long after it opened, wild conspiracy theories began floating around. One major theory is that there is a massive underground bunker that was built for the world's elite in the event of an apocalyptical event. Another is that there is a massive facility underneath that was built to be used as a concentration camp in the future. Some people believe that the reason for the delay in the schedule was due to the construction of said underground bunkers and tunnels. Supposedly, a construction worker claims that they buried 5 multi-story buildings underneath and built the airport on top of it. Aside from the construction theories, there's plenty of things inside the airport that are just plain odd. One thing mentioned often is the large Mustang statue, shown above, outside of the airport, nicknamed Blucifer. A large blue horse with red eyes that supposedly represents one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, death. Oddly enough, the architect who designed the piece was killed when the horse's head fell on him, severing major arteries and causing what proved to be fatal injuries. Another thing people find odd is the dedication stone inside the airport. One of the first things you notice is the large Freemason symbol in the middle of the stone. Another thing people point to is the date on the stone, March 19, 1994. Which, if you add up the numbers 191994, you get 33, which is a significant number in the Freemasons, as I believe it is the highest level you can reach in the organization. The last odd thing about the dedication stone is that it says near the bottom New World Airport Commission contributors. People believe this is reference to the New World Order, which will supposedly be brought on by the Freemasons, Illuminati. Also noted by conspiracy theorists are the 4 odd and slightly disturbing murals that are displayed in the airport. Some people believe these murals are packed with Freemason iconography and occult references and even are a telling of the future. TLDR. Denver Airport is a secret occult superbunker and has some really poor taste when it comes to decorations. Damn, that's going to be a huge bunker. Miley Cyrus's crazy streak was all a carefully planned marketing scheme to get her solidified as an A-list celebrity. I believe it was done to make Disney completely cut ties with her and kill the image of Hannah Montana. It's worked too. Hannah Montana was quite possibly Disney's largest TV show ever, but I haven't seen anyone even mention it for over 4 years now. And despite Disney cashing in on old IPs, Aladdin, Kim Possible, Lion King, etc., we have yet to even hear an unsubstantiated rumor regarding Hannah Montana. The recommended food pyramid is created by the FDA, but the FDA is funded by a lot of certain food industries, poultry, dairy, etc. They in turn made the recommended nutrition based off of their funding by these companies, and not based on a well-balanced diet. There's a conspiracy theory that Flight 93 was shot down by hastily scrambled jet fighters and/or missiles, in the interest of public safety, and that the government made up the relatively wholesome the passengers decided to fight the hijackers and sacrifice themselves story to keep up morale. I don't know whether it happened or not, but I can entirely believe it might be true.